Welcome back to another episode of the RnD Creatives podcast. Today, as always, we have an amazing guest. For the purposes of our audience, could you please introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
That question. What do you do?
Are you a Slash?
Yeah, I'm a Slash.
He's a Slash.
Yeah, Royston. I go by one name, I guess. Some people know me as Royston Good and Royston Legore, just Royston. I am a performer, an entrepreneur, singer, songwriter, dancer, choreographer, agent, promoter, charity owner, cultural connector. I think that's about it.
You've left out something. I know you have.
Actor.
Yeah.
Presenter. Entertainer.
What doesn't he do?
Entertainer just scopes it around.
Entertainment, man.
Yeah.
We go back quite a while from my time in entertainment. But I'd love to know, because back then we were just being entertainers. I never asked, how did you get started? What was your entry into this world?
Well, the entry into our world was from my mum.
Stop.
No, but do you know, it's funny, I have like so many different like paths as to what my entry is. So I started from a young age. I mean, when I say young, I'm talking my first job, I was 13. I used to dance at a local youth centre in Forest Gate.
Okay.
Shout out to Kat, the comedian, was one of my first dance teachers. There was a crew called Rough Stuff.
I remember Rough Stuff. Yeah,
Rough Stuff. And then there was also the older group called Tashif. I think it was Tashif. I could be wrong, but I think it was Tashif. And at the age I was supposed to be in Rough Stuff, but I never was. I went straight to Tashif, into the adults.
Okay.
And I remember that kind of being one of my first kind of outlets as a performer and performing in shows and stuff. And then I went on to join in a group called Advance. It was a local boy group. Was
this dancing and singing?
Predominantly dancing, singing. It was singing, I guess. Yeah, because I was singing. But how did I end up getting into singing? I guess I was just known for singing. Yeah. I was just one of those kids.
Just singing along to stuff.
I just sang, I just danced. And then I remember Advance performing at the show that we were dancing at. And I got approached by Melanie, who was our manager, to join the group. Leon, Jerome and Raymond and myself. And I was in that group for, I want to say at least 4 years. At least. Yeah. We were like the local boy group, you know.
every area had their boy group.
Yeah, we were that local boy group. We used to cover everything from Aziat, 3T, Boys to Men, and then we started writing our own music. And then that kind of propelled me into like the singing space, I guess, a bit more. Yeah. But I was still dancing as well. And then I was on the side, I was kind of doing a little bit of modeling, child modeling and stuff like that. And then, how did I do that? I ended up going to a friend's house with my bro, Champagne, who was Glamour Kid's hype man.
Okay, I remember Glamour, yeah.
And
amazing.
We went to a friend's house, and basically I ended up auditioning for Choice FM's Rapology. Now, for people that don't know, Rapology was like the first X Factor. Yeah. You know, Choice FM is now One Extra. Capital Extra? One Extra?
Capital Extra now, yeah.
And basically, ended up doing that competition, won it. Got signed, had a single deal with Sony. Ended up being, after a little bit, ended up having a song called Why that was on Choice FM. I kind of was still in the group, but then kind of like had this solo career, but still was kind of dancing. Glamour and Champagne took me to these dance events, and one of them was CNC and Size, with CNC and Size 9. Yeah. CNC and Size 9 are like the epitome of dance troupes, crews in the UK. And even though when I went there, they were like, "Oh, you're the guy that won Rapology," because they used to be the backing dancers for the acts. I ended up joining CNC, and this was more just like a fun, every Thursday 5-hour training.
You just vibed with them.
Yeah, and you know, I was from East London. I was going all the way to like Brixton and Elephant and Castle.
Yeah, Camberwell.
Yeah,
Huskies.
Yeah. And I'm talking, I was probably about 17. I mean, like, what was I doing in Elephant Castle, finishing at 11 o'clock? Yeah. But with that being said, it really put me around a lot more working environment. So even I was still like in the group, I was still kind of having this solo weird career. I was still doing all these things. My mum's friend told me about the stage newspaper. And in the stage newspaper was this audition for Sylvia Young. Never really heard of it, but I just saw stage school, I think.
Yeah.
And in my head, I thought fame.
Fair enough.
Do you know what I mean? I just thought fame. Again, not a lot of resources, just like, you know, just going with the flow.
Yeah, fair.
I went all the way from Walthamstow to Marylebone, auditioned by myself, turned up at this school. I wore a Converse tracksuit, and I think I had Converse trainers on because at the time my uncle used to work for Converse.
Kitted out.
Yeah, I was kitted out. And I sang Only You by 112. I danced to Busta Rhymes' Give Me Some More.
Damn.
And I think, if I'm correct, my acting piece was, I think it was Bugsy Malone. It could have been Juice. One of them. I don't know which one. But I do remember after I performed, one of the judges or auditionees was like, well, auditioners was like, you remind me of Tevin Campbell.
Oh, wow. That's a compliment.
Yeah, and I remember Sylvia was there and she was like, who's Tevin Campbell? And
Can we talk?
Can we talk, exactly. And I was just like, oh, wow. And yeah, I ended up getting a scholarship for the school. I was in the same year as Matt from Busted, Amy Winehouse, and we was all like in the paper, like these are the
next one's to
the
blow.
next one, journey, which was really cool. Still didn't have a direction. When you go to Sylvia Young, you actually become part of an agency. It's called the Young Uns Agency.
Amazing.
Monday to Wednesday was academic, you know, your maths, your science, and then Thursday and Friday was your vocational, so you do your singing, your dancing. But within that week, there was this board. And if your name was highlighted, you went to the agency and you had a casting or a job.
Nice.
And so in this process of school, you're working.
Yeah. I mean, you're being prepared for the working world, but you're actually doing it.
But you're actually doing it.
Yeah.
Which leads me on to going into my dancing career. Emma Bunton, Baby Spice, went to our school, and Audience with the Spice Girls was happening.
Which at the time would have been insane.
Oh, yeah. Audience with the Spice Girls.
Yeah.
It's like, what? So this lady walked through the school, chocolate woman, and I was like, oh my God, that's Priscilla Samuels.
Oh, fair. Amazing.
And Priscilla Samuels is the choreographer of Spice Girls. And I didn't get highlighted on the wall to go downstairs.
Yeah.
And everyone went downstairs and was basically doing, I think it was, I can't remember what song it was, but whatever big, maybe it was the
Like
big
Holler or something.
No, it was the first.
Oh, okay. So like Wannabe.
It could have been, I don't know, was it, you're having a good time? It could have been something like that.
Okay,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
Spice Up Your Life.
Spice Up Your Life.
Why do I know all the Spice Up?
Right. Spice Up Your Life. And I remember going upstairs to the agency and be like, boom, why am I not down there? Why am I not dancing? That's Priscilla Samuels. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
And I remember Sylvia saying, what's going on? What's going on? I was like, look, they're dancing down there. Da da. And she said, but Royston, we thought you was a singer. And I was like, I do everything. You know what I mean? But I was like, oh.
Don't put me in a box.
Right. But I was like, oh, wow. Which was interesting because literally maybe a couple of years later, I used to dance with another group called the Shifters, the Little Shifters. Me, Dodo, Dwayne Pearson, Andre, and Priscilla Samuels spotted us. And basically was like, yo, who are you guys? And again, why was I in Park Royal dancing in Zeniths, nighttime, kid, in a club, performing on stage, getting money? I remember Dodo was just like he was like the ringleader at the time. You know, he was just like, yo, we got to do this. And Priscilla was like, I'm going to put you on. But you guys have to kind of realize that there's no one like you. And the industry are going to kind of look at you crazy because you're a couple of black guys that's street dancers, like real street dancers, and you're not commercial. Your look's not commercial, your vibe's not commercial. You clearly don't know the industry. So, but I'm gonna back you.
Okay, that's
But
huge.
I need you to find me some other guys. Now, I remember one of my boys, Christian, when I did Rapology, he was a rapper, and I remember he could dance. I was like, yeah. and also Dwayne. I think this was another time, but I just knew people and I was like, yo, we've got it.
Piecing it all
yeah,
together.
we got it. And all of us just became like the massive creation. That was Priscilla's company family. And she put us on the map. Especially, I say she put me on the map. And all of us as dancers, we became those dancers.
Yeah, the ones to go to.
Yeah, and you know, I think a lot of people that do know me associate me quite heavily with dance. Some singing, you know, I think even when I sing till this day, people go, I didn't know you could sing.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel the dance is what a lot of people recognize me for. And I owe that a lot to Priscilla.
What do you think she saw in you?
I think she saw maybe a part of herself. I think she was such and is such an amazing creative, but she's so homegrown. You know, she's from Jamaica. She also trained and done her thing, but I think she just had a natural, well, she does have a natural talent. You can teach someone to cook, but you can't, when you know what you're
There's
doing.
something extra in
it's
there,
a
yeah.
little different,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And that's what Priscilla embodies. Like when she choreographs, her body just moves in a certain way that you can't emulate. And I think she may have saw that in us, that we were just raw talent. And every time we introduced somebody else into it, it was also a vibe that when we walked into the room, it was infectious.
Yeah.
And she put us on stage together. So a lot of the artists that we all danced for, we were always together. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, it was very rarely, it was at least two of us. You know, even if it was a bigger group, there was at least 2 to 4 of us in that pool. Some of the jobs till this day, I'm always like, oh, I didn't get to do that because I was the young looking one.
Yeah.
At the time, it really bothered me.
Like what? What one stick in your mind? You're like, could have been me up there.
I remember when Dwayne, which it was so dope watching him, was the lead with Victoria Beckham and Dame Bowers for Out of Your Mind.
Oh yeah, that was a tune.
Yeah, Out of Your Mind. And
Was he in the video or the live?
He was in the video. He was in a live performance. But
Amazing.
then everyone was. All the boys were in it, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I used to get upset. Like, I didn't say it at the time. I don't know if any even knew it. But when I look at it now, I didn't realize how young and skinny and mager I was back then. You know, obviously I was lean as hell, but I didn't realize how young I did look compared to those guys. But there were certain music videos that I didn't get to do, but then I'll get to do the show. And it's like, which was still fun. It was still dope. But you know, like the music videos live forever, especially back then.
Yeah, of
we
course.
didn't have like...
Music TV was everything.
And you know, we didn't have like YouTube and Instagram. So there was nothing to kind of document what you were doing. So even to this day, like I've been blessed to work with so many artists that it's not documented.
Yeah.
You know, because
it'll be on like someone's videotape somewhere.
Yeah.
Someone's got a DVD somewhere.
Somewhere, you know, which is a gift and a curse, I guess, because it's like, oh, what does it look like?
I'm glad none of my old performances are around. How do you process those kinds of setbacks? Because like you said, at the time, you might not even have let people know, but how did you deal with it internally then?
This creative world, it kind of just assists you to have this strong power to receive a no, you know?
Well, I feel like if you don't have that, you won't last. You're not going to make it.
Yeah, you're not going to. And I feel like when it comes to like, especially in the performing world, maybe not the creative world. I think the creative world is a little bit different.
Yeah, you can hide a little bit more.
You can hide, yeah. But when you are auditioning as a dancer, as a singer, even as a musician, and you're walking into that room, especially back then, because now it's all online, you know what I mean? We just talk about self-tapes and stuff. Walking in a room, 50 people, 60 people, 20 people. No, thank you. Sometimes you don't even dance, or you don't even open your mouth. You walk in, sorry, no, looks wrong.
Ouch!
And you're just like, oh, why did you not ask for the look before you even came, you know? But then there's auditions that like now, as an agent, I tell my clients, like, castings are a tool to help that back, to grow that strength, to be also understanding that, like, not everything is for you.
Yeah.
You know? But at the same time, take that as a free dance class.
Fair.
Do you know what I mean?
And I'm sure you've been in this situation before. I know I have, in those kind of rehearsals for shows and stuff. You end up making some lifelong friends in those.
Absolutely.
So even just going, you don't know, you might not get the gig, but you might make a connection with someone you could turn into
Exactly.
Lord knows what.
And I think, to be honest with you, I was very, very, very fortunate that being a part of Massive Creation and having Priscilla as such a strong mentor, I didn't actually audition much. I was booked.
You put on, yeah.
You know what I mean? I was very booked, and I say that humbly. Like, you know, we didn't have to audition much, and when we did, it was very like, I remember like auditioning for like Pink. You know, like I remember there was a big Pink audition, Eddie Morales and all Punch and all the dancers, and she needed one guy.
Fair.
One guy, and again, Christian Goka, he got it. It was for most girls want the man.
Oh
with the
god, yeah.
And I remember, I think it was down to me and like I was in like definitely like the last 3 or 4. I just looked too young, and it's just like, oh. And back then it wasn't. We didn't. Do you know? It's funny. Like we didn't even talk about gym.
No,
Do you
not
know what I mean?
at all. No.
Like gym was not a thing that we danced.
Yeah, that's how you stayed fit. You were active.
You was active, but maybe I should have gone gym.
Get the chest up.
Right? Yeah.
Why do you think so many American artists, I mean, even now, but particularly back then, like the noughties were over here working, like Backstreet Boys were over here, like you said, Pink was over here, B2K worked over here quite a lot. Like, what was it about the America thing? Because we all thought America was like this big place where we wanted to go.
Right.
But so many artists came over here to dance, to get dancers, to do production. Like, where do you think the pull is? Because obviously you see it from both sides of the table now.
British people want to make it in other territories, and Americans want to make it in other territories. England just happened to be another territory for the UK.
Yeah.
So when Americans came to the UK, and I say this because I did it, it wasn't just London or UK. We'd go to France with them, Germany.
Of
You know, there
course.
was other Europe. So it was like London was a stop off. Whereas obviously when British people wanted to go to America, it was so big that they had to do it in like, it took like 6 months.
Yeah.
And they just didn't have that scope. So it was like, it was financially costly. Remember, America's just America. So it's one company. Like, so whatever label you're signed to, it's in America. Whereas when Americans came to the UK, it was the UK label. Then they'll go to France, it's the France label. Then they go to Germany, it's the German. So it's different budgets. So what they would usually do is maybe carry a few dancers or a few of their team.
Yeah, so they've got some consistency.
But then find the rest here. London is London, you
Yeah.
know. Whereas they would come to London, but then also take the London dancers to Europe because they couldn't find them.
And also your English language was just easier.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of why and what it was, but I don't think it was a deliberate Americans tried to make it here. I just think the ones that did, it was international.
Yeah.
Like you said, TV, magazines, everything was international because there were some that didn't come here. And those were the ones that maybe didn't make it internationally.
Yeah. I just thought it's such an interesting time, like around 2003, 2004, 2006. Just there were so many people working over here. Shanti was over here all the time. Ja Rule was over here.
And they made it.
Yeah.
In hindsight.
Yeah, they were huge.
You know, they were huge. TV shows back then also were so big.
Yeah, music television.
Music television.
Yeah.
You know, we had, I mean, in America, they have things like, you know, TRL, 106 and Park.
Yeah.
You know, but when we also had Top of the Pops, CDUK,
yeah.
Pepsi Chart.
What was the one that was they used to record in Leicester Square?
Pepsi Chart Show.
Oh, was that?
The Pepsi Chart Show.
And then one that
SMTV.
Blackwood did.
Which one?
Richard Blackwood, he had...
Well, that was at MTV Base,
MTV,
right?
was it MTV Base?
MTV Base. I mean, also we had magazines.
Yeah.
You know,
Our magazine culture was huge compared to other places.
Smash Hits pole winners parties
Yeah.
and even the award shows.
Enemy magazine.
All these things. We had so many more outlets back then. So from even a dance perspective, you could have a career. I remember like our week was maybe Monday was off. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday was rehearsals. Then Thursday, Friday, you'll be in tech or sound check for Top of the Pops and CUK. Saturday, Sunday, you're recording it. That was
So it's full on.
Yeah, it was. And
Monday's the only quiet
And
day.
that was with just one artist.
Yeah.
There was never much time to kind of double up because the artist actually had you working. You know, I was really blessed to be with like people like Jamelia. I worked with Jamelia for like nearly 7, well, years. You know, I'm in Jamelia's first ever video.
Yeah. I think that was the first time I was like, oh my God, Royston's made it. Because that video was huge, like in terms of budget, in terms of
And you're thinking of,
choreography.
what are you thinking of?
The Money Company.
No, see, that was...
What was the first one then?
I was in I Do.
Okay.
So that was, this is before Money.
Okay.
You know? But yeah, I mean, Money was an amazing video to be a part of. Again, Priscilla choreographed that. Max and Danya directed it. But yeah, that was, at the time...
I'd not seen anything like it from a UK artist.
From a UK perspective, I mean, the song was amazing. Jamelia wrote it. We had Beanie Man on it. I remember when Beanie Man came over and we did, you know, Mobos and TV shows. It was just like, I'm Jamaican.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yo, Beanie
Royalty.
Man, Beanie Man is on the road with us. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, just memories.
What was that like then? So going from, obviously, a lot of this happened quite young for you. What was that like going from, you know, doing the live performances to moving into being in music videos and being on screen? What was that transition like for you?
So it was so fast paced that I kind of didn't take it in. I beat myself up about that sometimes. Like, I've had such an amazing career, but I really was just a young guy going with the flow. You know, like, you know that, I think, who said, was it Lady Gaga? Was just like, club, another club, plane, this, another. That's what it really was.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have any family that's from this industry. I didn't have anyone that kind of said to me, yo, you're doing really well, but put something aside or do this or do that. You know, I was just out here making money, dancing, singing from time to time, actually singing, doing through this, you know, having this behind the scenes singing career. But yeah, just living in the moment and in the dream, I guess.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until like later on in years that I was like, oh wow, like I've done that, or I've been here. You know, there's countries I go to, people say, have you been here before? I'm like, actually, I've been here about 3 times. I couldn't tell you anything about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, got off the coach, went to the venue.
And that's it. You know, maybe went to a club.
Yeah.
And that's it, you know? Whereas now I'm more like, I want to go to a restaurant. I want to maybe see a view. Maybe just take a photo of being there.
Yeah.
I've got this thing I do in my maps now. Like, I'll put all the different locations I've been, just so I remember. Just so it kind of remembers.
Yeah.
Because before I was just flyby.
Just a blur. You mentioned not putting anything aside and not having anyone kind of in your family who was from this world. So what was it? How did you learn to be financially smart with what you have? Because I'm sure you might have made some mistakes along the way.
I've made so many mistakes. I mean, I would use the word smart. I don't know if I ever was smart. But no, like, I guess one regret that I really wish I did back then was give my family and my family and I'll use my word, my family and certain people more.
More what though? More of you or?
More money.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. At the time I made good money and I wasted it. And I felt like now where I'm in life, I could have invested that better. Property, stuff that made sense, you know. And I don't say I want to give people handouts because that's not what it is. But and I'm not saying it wasn't like, oh, here's money. But I wish I had more conversations with people that were closer to me to maybe do that.
To support them in some way.
In some way,
yeah.
You know, what are their aspirations? What were their goals? Because I do feel like I followed my dream. And where I come from, like, you go left or right.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying my left or right was the right way, but if I didn't go the way I did, it could have gone another way.
Yeah.
You know? And I do feel very, like, sometimes it's quite heavy to have that on your shoulders when everyone looks at you a certain way or sees you in a certain way. And it's like, I just did what I wanted to do. Anyone can do that. Like, if
you really believe that?
I honestly believe that. I think if you enjoy something and you're passionate about it, anyone can achieve success.
Yeah, but there's moments, a couple that you alluded to in this conversation, where you've shown, like for example, when the Spice Girls came to Sylvia Young, even though you didn't get into that session, you saw an injustice there. You were like, I deserve to be in that room. That's not something you can teach, and that's not something everybody has.
Yeah, but not everyone has to go through the same scenario. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be a lawyer, right? You have to study. You have to study. Like, and I studied in my way of going to dance classes. Even if it was fun, I didn't assume it was going to make me have a career, but I went into those spaces, you know? I wanted to sing. I didn't know how to get a record deal or like, I don't know, but I said, all right, let me go sing with my boys, and we're in a group, you know, local group.
Yeah.
Like, you know, every weekend we were training. Every Saturday as a kid, I was dancing, singing rehearsals and dance rehearsals.
Yeah.
Every Saturday, even Sunday sometimes, where other kids were outside playing. We were in a house singing and dancing all day.
And no one had to tell you to be there. That's what you wanted to do.
That's what it was. It's like, oh, what are you doing on the weekend? I'm practicing. You know what I mean? Where that came from, I honestly don't know. But being alongside other people through my singing career and dance career and whatever else career, it wasn't just me doing it. I found other people. I mean, you did it. You know what I mean? Like, there was other people like me. I was very fortunate. I just didn't have it around me. I don't know.
There wasn't like immediate examples in your family.
Yeah, it wasn't. So I don't know how, I'll be honest, I don't know how I was that kid that ended up doing it, because to be honest with you, even when I was in school, I was bullied. I was heavily bullied.
What for?
Being a singer.
Okay.
Being a dancer. You know, I was called every slur, as you can imagine, under the sun. But it was like I was bullied from my friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the man them would bully me because all the girls liked me.
Yeah, and why are you like doing your hair like that?
Yeah, you know what I
Why'd
mean?
you move like that?
Yeah.
Why'd you sing like that?
Why,
Yeah.
oh, look how he's singing, look how he's singing, look how he's dancing. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I used to make routines up at the back of the playground. Like, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're like, yo, Royce, let me link. Oh, yeah, you don't bear girl. Like, do you know what I mean? You got all the girl.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, that was just a mind frig in itself, because I wanted to do what I wanted to do, but then I also didn't want to be bullied.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I used to get bullied every day. If it wasn't a punch in the side, or if it wasn't someone taking something that I had, let me see that.
Yeah.
I'll give you back later. And like,
it's gone.
It's got, oh no, like for hours, I'm like, give me my things. You know what I mean? And these are at the time, were my actual friends, you know.
But you thought they just thought you were soft because you're a performer, or what?
Yeah, and I don't, and it's weird because even like, I feel like there's at certain points, I was in the group and I did, you know, was still in school, but I had like these kind of accolades. So the bullies kind of got a little softer, but it's because they thought,
you're doing well,
and I need to be around you. But the negative was still there, because it was like, it was so, what's the word? It was so intrusive.
I mean, this is even today worse, I guess, for kids. I couldn't be a child now, but because a lot of your life at that time is school, there's no real escape, especially if your school's in your community. So when you're not even at school, you might see them when you're going to the park,
and it's funny because
it's intense.
This is why I auditioned for Sylvia Young. So I went to Sylvia Young at 14. So can you imagine? We're talking age 14. I did my GCSEs in Sylvia Young.
Yeah.
Right. So I did my exams. I've got all this going on at the age of 14. So privy to this, I'm still in
regular school.
That's where I was bullied. And when I saw the opportunity to get out of that school, that's what it was. You asked me a question and I didn't really understand why. That was what it was. I had to get out. I could not take the bullying. I couldn't take being that person. I had no one to talk to about it. You know what I mean? So it was just very one of them things where it's like, I want to still do what I do. I'm good at what I do. Maybe I could just get out by using this skill set. And it worked. But then even when I went to Sylvia Young, the first couple months, I hated it.
Yeah.
Because I felt I was just this black guy. You know, there
So you
wasn't...
felt out of place, or?
Yeah, there weren't many black people. There was a few. And
I know one other person who was black who went there, Reggie.
Reggie was before me.
Yeah.
You know, when I went, there was like Jamie Luke, Craig Stein, Mohammed just left before I went. But like, you know, Jamie and Craig, why I bring them up? Because they're my friends till this day, you know, my bona fides. But there was a very few of us, and I just felt out of place. I was from Walthamstow. I used to get the Victoria line there. I didn't have money. I didn't have no money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I remember seeing kids come with like £50 notes to, you know, for lunch, and they only had jacket potatoes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just felt completely out of place. I guess when you're new to something, it happens.
Yeah.
But I did hate it at first. It took a while for me to make it make sense, and I think that was a lot once I started sticking up for myself and putting myself like, why am I not doing this?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So you think that's where it came from, your kind of sense of injustice, being wronged and being put in, you know, a horrible place from people who wouldn't let you be who you wanted to be?
That's a statement within itself. Yes, 100%. I think walking in your authentic self is so important in life, and when you don't, you just shatter everything else. Do you know what I mean? And I think I can honestly put my hands up and say that was a lot of my life. Always being somebody else. I always say there's the three of me. There's Royston, and there's Royston.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now I ain't got time for any of them. Just give me one. Just let me be me. Let me be me. Whatever narrative you have on me, that's your perception, because I've done that. I've done those three. You know, you walk into one room, you're being this person, and you walk into that room, you're being, and it's like, that is draining.
I hear that.
Yeah.
So you touched on not wanting to be different versions of yourself. How do you, I mean, we won't even go there yet, but you've obviously come from being assumed being a singer, turning into a dancer and choreographer. What was the next step for you to move beyond that world then? So you've done TV and music videos. How did it progress from there?
I always say my career has kind of just been a stepping stone of mentorship, whether they knew they were mentors or not. People that I've met along the way, seeing how people moved. I call myself a cultural connector now, you know? And even regards to RnD, which is my agency, RnD Creatives, how that kind of was born was because I used to get asked, still do I know this person? Do you have this contact? Do you have this? Can I have that? Da 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 da. And I used to just see people like making money. And I'll be sitting there like, I've connected them to make the money. You know, I mean, I can put my hand on my heart and say I've probably made some people some millionaires, you know? And I remember just saying to Dwayne one time, and I was like, yo, like, I've got this idea. I feel like we should do an agency. And again, remember I said we were with Priscilla, with Massive Creation. So we wasn't really a part of like many agencies, you know, maybe one or two, but we were kind of, I knew a lot of people. I knew a lot of people internationally too. Like I said, being fortunate to work with when people came internationals, and then living in America for some time, living in Berlin for some time on productions that I was in, just accumulated.
You build up a network.
Yeah, this network. So D was just like, yo, I'm here. Like,
let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Do you know what I mean?
That feels like that's his energy generally.
That's like,
just
Dwayne's just like, you know what, bro? Whatever you want to do, I'll do it. I support you. Cool. Till this day, you know what I mean? And yeah, I just started. It just kind of happened, you know, organically. It stands for rhythm and dance. You know,
I always thought it was your names.
People always think that.
Royston and Dwayne.
People, I mean, people RnD. We will be RnD to the day we die. You know what I mean? But it's rhythm and dance, and yeah, like it just kind of grew, and I became an agent what I love about being an agent, even though the times have changed, is giving people that opportunity to fulfill a dream or a passion when the world tells them no.
Because you've been there.
Because I've been there. Being looked after, being supported. Don't get me wrong, I'm no one's angel. I'm sure I've done things wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sure maybe I've spoke out of turn. Maybe I didn't really know what I was doing and I winged it, but I done it from the bottom of my heart, and I can say this with the best interest I could possibly have. You know what I mean? So when I mean, the best thing about being an agent is being able to call someone and say you got the job and hearing their excitement. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, sometimes you have to call and say you didn't get a job. And sometimes you don't even call. I send an email.
Yeah.
It just lessens the blow for everybody.
Of course, yeah.
But when someone's got a job and you're like, yo, how you doing? You're right. Just want to touch base. How you feeling? How's your weekend?
Yeah.
And you know what you're about to say. So, company got back to me and you're going on the tour. Do you know what I mean? And they're just like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's incredible because it's like you were a part of that. And there's been so many, I've been so fortunate as an agent and as just a connector to have those moments. And I think it's one of those things that constantly keeps me going with the agency.
I mean, how long has it been now?
Coming up to 15 years. Yeah, 15
huge.
years. Yeah, and you know, like I'm one of a few, you know, self-made kind of vibe, like black owned. I'm very proud of it. I'm very, very proud of it. It has its days, you know. Fortunately in the UK, you know, dancers and mostly creatives aren't exclusively exclusive.
Yeah.
So it's a fighting battle all the time. Always, which is very tedious because you just want people to win, and there's unfortunately not everyone in the world thinks like you. And I say things like that because I literally believe that. I literally believe I don't have any malice. Like, I don't care what the other people are doing. I don't care how the other person runs their company or how many staff they have or what jobs they have. I am really proud of what I have and the talent that I represent. And if you don't want to be here, that's fine. Go. I don't want to put someone on my books just because. Like, there's no point having all these people and I'm not getting all these people work.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Yeah, like from a choreography perspective, I know who I am. I know my style. I know what I like. From a network, I know what network I have. So there's no just taking on someone that's not going to fit in that mold, you know? And yeah, it just keeps elevating. I think from, like you said, dancer to choreographer to creative to agent, singer to songwriter to background singer, to session singer, extra to actor. You know?
Fits.
Yeah, it's just growth.
Yeah,
it's all growth. And I ain't done yet.
I wanted to know selfishly, because I run my own company and it's not that old. What are some of the things you learned quite early on, or maybe you've learned along the way, that helped you sustain a business for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and now approaching 15?
It goes back to that old thing of TV and reading magazines. I mean, people that I used to look up, I still look up to. This going to sound so controversial. Diddy,
Yeah.
Bad Boy, Jay-Z, Rock Nation, you know. There wasn't many...
They built empires.
They built empires, and there wasn't many examples in the UK, you know. You know, I remember Damage being signed to... So Damage used to manage me. I made one of my first albums with them. And they used to be managed to an independent label called Big Life. Okay. And I remember being in that space. I remember they had an office. I think the record label was in Camden at the time. I think it's like Celicia was managed that on that label. And it was a really small label. But being able to see how it worked,
yeah,
I was like, oh, wow. And I wasn't on the label, but I was just in those spaces. Again, Priscilla with Massive Creation. She used to have her office and Janet used to work in there, and small team, but okay, filing cabinets and stuff. Okay.
Stationary.
Okay. You know what I mean? And even out where we used to rehearse was a studio called Big Life Studios, and Pineapple Agency was there, which used to be affiliated with Pineapple Studios. And again, just seeing those mechanics, you know, I never knew that was what I was gonna do or want to do, but I was always intrigued in the behind the scenes.
Yeah, fair.
I always wanted to I loved rehearsals. I loved studio at the time. I just loved being in spaces where it was like, it wasn't even in my head that I was learning.
Yeah.
But I was taking
You were being
it
a
in.
sponge.
I was being a sponge. I was taking it in.
Did you find yourself asking a lot of questions then, or just observing?
I don't think I was a questioner. So many things I think I'm not, and people be like, Royston, you're so but yeah, I remember even the tour manager, I used to love a call sheet. I used to love a call sheet. Like, okay, we got there's the nearest hospital, there's the nearest police station, those little things.
Yeah.
So when I've gone on to create those, it's those little bits that I will remember.
Yeah.
Outside of the director, the DOP, I'm like, no, where's the hospital? Where's the this?
The nearest newsagent.
Where's
whatever.
the nearest? Yeah, you know what I mean. What's the nearest train stations?
Yeah.
The dancers need to know. They need easy access. Don't just put the postcode on there. Not everyone has
that's rude.
Google Maps.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just being like you said, being a sponge and kind of really taking in that knowledge.
I mean, you've worked with so many people, but who of the people that you've worked with have really helped you learn a lesson with, the work that you do, or even just about the industry in general? Obviously, you mentioned Priscilla, but I'm sure there's other people that have influenced you and taught you some valuable things.
In terms of artists, two people that come to mind is Jamelia. I was with Jamelia for a long time, and just being a part of her career and narrative was amazing. She's my sister. I love her to bits, and it was just, she didn't even know what she taught me. You know what I mean? She didn't even know. I even get emotional just even thinking about that. She didn't even know what she taught me, but just watching her career was amazing. Estelle, I was with Estelle for a very, very long time. A lot of people knew that I was, behind her. Again, she didn't even know what she taught me. It's one of those things where you're in it. And I said this earlier, you're going. You just don't really realize where you are, from being at the Grammys or being at the Brit Awards or being in rooms with, I was in a room with friggin' Prince, and he said to me, yo, I like your hair. And I'm just like, oh my God.
I'm never cutting it.
You're right, And it's just those moments I'm so grateful for, because, they allowed me to be a part of that journey, and also trusted me to have whatever creative control or creative ideas at that time. So that's definitely two artists that I'm very grateful for. In terms of out behind the scenes, people like Dwayne, he was just a big bro. Someone that I kind of never didn't have anyone that I grew up with. So, just to kind of share those moments with him. There's moments that me and him share, that will last forever. He's probably got stories on me that, God forbid, he'll ever speak about.
They'll be in the book.
Right. Vanessa Armadi, an amazing manager, PR. She was just always very warm and just giving, Jasmine Dotawala, she done my first ever bio.
What was that like, seeing someone speak on you and then you're like, oh, this is what I am and who I am?
It was crazy, because I actually remember the interview. I was in Walthamstow McDonald's on my little Nokia, and she called me and was just talking, and I knew the call was coming. I don't even know why I was in McDonald's.
So you picked somewhere glamorous to be,
Yeah, I don't even know why I was in McDonald's. I think that was just somewhere that I thought I could just find a corner and chill. There was no Starbucks back then. Do you know what I mean? And she just spoke. I just asked me questions and spoke. And I always remember her from Jasmine's Juice in The Voice. And, she was always kind of known for being she used to say what people didn't want to hear, but I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I was excited what she was going to ask me, but same time nervous. So yeah, people like Jasmine Dotuwala. There's so many like people that I could mention. That Teddy, he's one of my boys in New York with Vivian Scott Chu. There's just a lot of people. Like now I've got names. I'm like I could go on, but they're all for different reasons. You know, all for different reasons. But I've been very fortunate to have people in my corner, and I honestly wish they knew that.
Do you feel like you don't let them know enough?
I don't think I even used them enough.
Yeah.
I don't think I used them enough. I think like I was so scared, maybe humble, to not be a nuisance or not to like be that person or ask for things.
Yeah.
That sometimes I do question myself, like, had I just asked, where would I really be in my career? You know, or what support could I have had, or what opportunities could I have had? You know, but I didn't.
The squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I can relate to that in a lot of ways, because there's often times when I'm like I've got things I want to shoot and I'm like, oh, I don't want to trouble anyone.
Yeah.
But I know models and performers
Right.
all over the place.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to be that person. Like,
I get it. Like, you know, like
it's rough.
I need photos, I need reels, I need this, and I'm just like, I think as well, when you get to a certain space in your career, because I am a person that hires, I never want to disrespect someone by asking for freebies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I'm also like, if I ask you for something, what can I give you to make it make sense? You know? But then I also feel like people think I've got it. So they'll be like, it's this amount. And I'm like, damn. Like, there's no mixed rates. And they're like, you've got it. And it's like, no, I don't. No. Like, I ain't got it like that. So I'm also fearful of asking, because then if I do get that and I say no, it's like I've lost a bit of pride in myself, because they're like, oh, he ain't got it, or he's do this, or he's too cheap, or, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas, but I try my best to like be open, especially more so now, and just be like, yo, I don't have, this is what I have. That's what I'm trying to do. This is what I can give you, you know? Because like, again, people come to me all the time. Royston, do you know this person? Do you have this? Do you have that? And I think people don't realize this is my livelihood. Yeah. This is how I actually make money. This is how I
connecting the dots.
Connecting the dots, yeah. And you know, I'll tell someone the price or the cost, and they're like, oh no, too expensive, I'll go elsewhere. And it hurts, because you're like, whoa, as a friend or acquaintance or you wanted them to be like, okay, cool. How can we still make this work together? Rather than you just like exit stage left, how can we still make this work? Yeah. Like, because you're still good. I'm still going to help you. I just need to.
It needs to be something for you.
Yeah, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. You know what I mean? We don't have to be like, go away. And then people get like the or, you know, then I come across the bad guy. And it's just like, no, this is my business. Like,
budgets are a really difficult thing, because I think the odd thing is I feel everyone's having that same kind of anxiety about like not wanting to ask or not having a number because they don't want to put someone off. Like, I actually had very recently, I had someone approach me from a company that I used to work with. Well, I haven't worked with in a long time. And a guy that works there, I worked with him when he was at a previous company, so he still thinks of me every now and then, which is amazing. And like, I'm really grateful to him. That a new colleague had joined their business, and she needed photography at an event that they were running, and she'd asked around and he'd mentioned me. And so she's reached out and said, oh, hey, you know, so-and-so said your name. We've got an event coming up. Would you be free? And I was like, I'm free that afternoon. I can make it work. What's your budget? And she's like, oh, well, we didn't really have a budget in mind, so like, just let me know what it would be. And so I let her know what it would be.
It's always that one.
And she says, oh, that's too much.
That's not in our budget. So you do have a budget.
Right. If I say £1 million, you're not giving me £1 million for a photo shoot. And it's really frustrating, because the thing is, from my perspective, and again, this is what we do for a living, even you asking me the question, my money timer has started because I'm on the clock now. Now I'm doing work because I have to budget an event or a shoot. So now this is chargeable time now that you've asked me to work out how much it costs. So now that you've said that, I've come back to you, I've done how much time it is, what equipment I'll need. I've spent a couple of hours on that, got back to you with a budget, and then you turn around and say, I'm too much. Now you've almost put my back up, because she said, she's come back to say, that's too much. I've been asking around and I've been quoted £300-400. And I was like, well, that's great. If those people are going to do it for that and you can afford that, why did you even come to me?
Yeah.
If you'd have said to me in the first place, I've been recommended your name, we've worked with you in the past, I've only got £400, are you free? I probably would have said yeah, because I've worked with the company before. It's not what I would usually charge, but you've at least put a number on it and you've not wasted my time having to work out how much I'm going to charge you.
I think this is something that everyone in this industry goes through, and I've dealt with it in so many different formats, whether it's a music video, a show, a production, me just connecting the dots. You know, people call me Mr. London. Oh, if anyone comes to London, you've got to get Royston. And it's like, hey, we have this conversation, we've got the XYZ, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, okay, so what's your budget? We don't have a budget. Okay.
So money's no problem then.
So money's no problem. Well, you know, we're going to do it, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. It's like, okay, how do I now say, I haven't said this yet, but how do I now say, for me to pick up my phone and write an email, I need to be paid?
Yes. This is my job.
This is my job. And this is before you or anyone else even gets an offer to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's another thing. Oh, well, you can get paid when XYZ. But say if XYZ never happens. Say if everyone says, not interested.
Yeah.
But I've still done some work.
Yeah.
How do I get paid?
You've made phone calls, you've seen if people are available.
Exactly. People just don't, unfortunately, the industry doesn't see it like that. And yeah, it is what it is. I think now you just have to work smarter and be very, my word is transparency. Transparency. And I'm learning to be much more transparent, but at the same time, there's times where I know I'm going to enjoy it. So that will be something that will fulfill me. All right, Royce, do you know what? We've got to put a bit of work in, but we know once this pulls off, it's going to be dope. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And I will work, and I'll say this out, I will work for free if I'm going to have fun.
Yeah. I mean, I do the same. I mean, if it's something that I've always wanted to be part of, if I got asked to shoot the red carpet at the Grammys, I've never done that before, I might do that for free. Because for me, that's an opportunity. I'm going to meet new people. I'm going to test myself in a new environment. That for me is still a valuable enough return on my investment of time to do it. But if it's something that I've done before, or I've worked with that company before, I've shot events before, it's nothing new to me.
There's also this, like, especially as a dancer, unfortunately, like, we're the bottom of the totem pole, right? It's like artist, management, hair, makeup, videographer now, photographer, agent, stylist, tour manager, security,
husband, wife,
dancers, right? And it's like, nah, come on. Like, when you watch the show, who do you see? When you watch the videos, what do you see? What makes that energy come alive? It's the dancers.
Yeah.
And this is why now I'm more headstrong, because the industry has slowed down. The industry there isn't as many opportunities, but at the end of the day, the world of dance is so powerful. So I'm going to have to be that bad guy at times and just put out there, this is business, because you're already treating dancers like SHIT. Nah, can't
So you're flying that flag?
I am, and I will fly that flag till the day I die. Like, I believe I will continue to represent dancers. It's the core talent that I represent. Yeah, I have some other talent which is just as important, but my agency is a dance agency. You know what I mean? It's a creative dance agency, and I'm just there to kind of advocate. You know, like, come on. Also, dancers, get your shit together.
Be on point.
Be on point.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hear no excuses. Like, you know, like, it's so fun. You know, it'd be the first person to ask for overtime. when it's time to go over, but you were late.
Yeah.
You were late for rehearsal. Oh, sorry, I was 10 minutes late. Oh, we're going 10 minutes over.
Yeah.
But you were 10 minutes late. You know what I mean? Make it make sense.
How do you find dance talent now? Because like you said, it's a very different industry to when you started.
It is. To be honest with you, like, it comes to us as a company, which is really grateful. We're very grateful for. But also social media. You know, social media is there now. Like, if it's not Instagram, it's TikTok. If it's not TikTok, it's whatever else is out there. I was about to say tickety-tock or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much things. But with R&D, we do have a format. So, funny, again, talking about how I learn things. Soho House membership. You know, you have to go on there, you fill it out. You have to know somebody and you get a referral. Mm-hmm. That's how we are at R&D.
Nice.
So, you know, you fill out a few questions. We want to know a bit about you. We want to see your reels, your photos, your sizes. And then we want to know if you know two people are part of the R&D family already. That's a hashtag R&D family. And that way I can then refer to those people and be like, yo, are they cool? Are they talented? Because you can be talented, but you can also be an arsehole.
Yeah, what do they like to work with?
What they like to work with.
Yeah.
So that's our process. But then, you know, we do just get cold emails and stuff like that. But, you know, social media is a way to find. I mean, I've got an amazing bunch of people on my books, but then sometimes there's just a job that acquires something that I just don't have my hands to. And if I want to, like you said, build that rapport or connection, I'll find it. Mm-hmm. You want elephants? I'll find it.
Hold on.
You want a dancer that can handstand on a horse? Give me 10 minutes. Yeah.
What are some of the things then, as now you're on that side of the table, what are some of the things that you've discovered that you didn't know when you were on just a dancer? How
ignorant dancers are to the game. I was too, you know. I think there's a lot of show business, but no business. You know, and that's unfortunate because it just doesn't get taught, even when you're in school. You know, when no one teaches you to write an invoice or what taxes are or what your national insurance number means, or like, do you have life insurance or do you have accidental insurance?
Yeah, because if you bust your leg,
if you're in rehearsals and you slip, what happens? Like, you're out. You're out. Are you covered? You know, like what consists of a dance bag? Like, if you're going to an audition, what should be in your bag?
What should be in your bag?
Make sure you got your hoodie in there. You know, keep warm. Knee pads, high heels, trainers, your makeup, your hair stuff, the right underwear. You know.
Chewing gum or mints?
Chewing gum, mints, a CV, your headshot. I always say, like, a change of clothes, or at least a change of outfit. If you're going to audition, you think about it, you go into audition, you go in there, you're sweating, your nerves are up, you're sweating, you think you've done whatever you've done to come, but now it's like, okay, we're going to put you on camera. You go to that bag, quickly change that top, whatever you need to
freshen up.
Hi, I'm Royston, and set yourself nice. You don't want to be on that camera looking crazy. And I think people forget that, especially when people see me as the casting, because they think, oh, that's Royston. No, that tape goes from me to I don't know who else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just don't know if it's the artist, the management, the director, the stylist, the A&R, the commissioner, the DOP. Like, you don't know who's seeing this, but you want them to see you in the best light.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's super important, that dance bag.
Obviously I'm not a dancer, so I hadn't thought about any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's just super important. You know, you go to audition and, you know, maybe that choreographer just wants to be like, do some floor work. And you're repeating it and repeating and repeating it, and you ain't got no knee pads.
Problems.
Good luck to you. Good luck.
It's interesting, from a lot of what you said, I'm noticing a lot of the people that have influenced you or that have stood out for you are female. Why do you think that is?
To be very transparent, I didn't grow up with my dad. You know, my dad was in my life at some point. you know, no disrespect to him, but, you know, he hasn't really been around. So I didn't have many father figures in my life. As I grew up, I've gravitated. One thing I really did do is gravitate to father figures that I wanted, you know, like my godfather, Damage, like those, like one's my dad, one's my uncle, one's my cousin, one's my brother. You know, I really like look at them as father figures, Dwayne, you know, but I was just surrounded by a lot of, I guess, women energy. I come from a single parent. My mum, you know, she did what she had to do and she did her best as far as I'm concerned. And, you know, when you're in that space, I guess I've never really, till you said it, I've never really even thought about it, you know, but yeah, I guess I've been always surrounded by women. And then when I wasn't, or when I did feel like I needed that father figure, I kind of sought for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And also I'm just a ladies' man, I guess. You know
Women do love you.
Yeah, I think I get along with the girls.
Fair. I'd love to know what you do so much, but what are you kind of working on now? What's happening for you and what you're moving on to? I'd love to know.
Capitalizing on RnD Creatives as an agency. I've got so much things that I want to do with that. Kind of want to maybe 360 it a bit, shake up the room with it, which I've got some plans which are really cool. I'm working on music. I'm back in the studio.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I can't believe I just said that. I'm working on a project. I don't want to call it anything, but I'm in the studio.
Fair. Is this just to express yourself, the stuff that you wanted to
I love to sing,
record?
man. I love to sing and I love making music and I love performing. Last year I got to go on the road with Aston, you know, from JLS. That's my boy. And he gave me me and Dwayne was BVs, and he just gave us leeway he's like, yo, this part of the show,
enjoy.
You lot sing, man.
Sick.
And you know, when you get to work with artists that just let everyone shine is dope. And just having that mic in my hand and just doing my thing, I was like, I didn't miss it. I think I don't do it as much because it is triggering for me at times because I've gone through so many things with it. So I'm always like apprehensive to be in the studio.
There is nothing like being on stage.
There is nothing.
How do you describe it to other people? Because I only get to feel, I only feel like people like us who have ever done it really get it. And it's such a hard thing to express.
I always say the stage is my home. Like, the stage is where I feel safe. And I can turn on. Like, I can literally, like, turn on. I don't know how, why, where. I do say, though, I find it much easier to get more people, the better. Like, put me in a room of 10 people or people I know, I'm like, oh my God, I'm nervous.
Yeah, I can see everyone.
I can see everyone. I can feel the energy. Put me in front of thousands, I'm like, what up, everybody? But, yeah, the stage is my home, man. Like, there's nothing like performing. It's just like you're giving, but you're receiving. It's like a really dope energy exchange. You know, even when that person isn't interested, you can see them or feel them, and you can call them out if you want to and put them on the spot. You know, comedians do it.
Yeah, I love it.
You know, they can be like, hey, you, da 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 da, and then there's this energy exchange. So yeah, stage is just like my home, and I think that's another reason why I always gravitate to making music, because when I sing, I feel like it's the moment I can really be 100% me. I feel like when I'm dancing, I'm usually dancing with other people. So there's this kind of like uniform, which is still nice to have, don't get me wrong. But, you know, there's only so much you can express yourself.
Also, I think as a dancer, that role is to facilitate someone else's performance.
That part
so
too.
it isn't about you.
But there's also
as much
just
as you can
dancing
express yourself.
with no artist. You know what I mean? There's just like dancing in a crew or a group, or, you know. But I also feel like with dance now, I also got this like horrible anxiety that I can never just be free. Because I think that's another thing I deal with, and, you know, maybe it's a therapy session, but, you know, is not caring what people think. You know, I think people hold me in such a high regard at times that it weighs on me, that I never get to just like let loose.
Because you're carrying expectations.
Yeah.
And they're not even yours. So
Yeah,
it's
and it's so annoying because it's like, let me just mess up. You know, like I wish I could just go to a dance class.
yeah,
You know,
it'd be
and-
bad.
Yeah, like sometimes like when I'm traveling now, I'll just go to a dance class. You know, I'll be in a different country and I'll Google and I'll just do a dance class and no one knows and cares.
Yeah.
But you know, if I'm here, it's like, oh my God, Royston's here. Oh my God, right? Is he? Can I get a job? What's he doing here? Like, and I'm gonna mess up. Like, I'm not the dancer I used to be. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I can still do it 1, 2.
I mean, you're not
but-
doing it every Saturday, are you?
No, that's what I'm saying. And it's like, you know, I'm older, my bones are creaking. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes you just want to have fun, but it's hard. You know what I mean? So, but the stage is definitely a good place to be.
Fair, yeah. So we were moving on to what's coming up for you then.
Yeah, so music, agency, I'm working with some amazing talent.
Anyone you can say?
No. No.
I look forward to seeing
Yeah,
them.
I don't want to know. But yeah, I'm working on a new movie, which is really dope. The story is really dope. It's actually Walter's directorial debut.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is really dope. I'm really excited about that. I'm working on a TV show. So I have a fictional autobiography about my life that's been written.
Amazing.
It's called The Shifters. It was created by myself and my executive, Ray Lamb, and at the moment written by Donna Marie. So it's basically a life story about my life. If you think of You Got Served meets Desmond's meets kind of like, I was gonna say Bullet Boy, but then I'm taking it way back. But yeah, think of it's a UK show.
Yeah.
Based in London. It is London. It breathes London, but it's the story of a young, aspiring black boy that's trying to navigate his way through this industry as a dancer, and everything else that comes with it. So that's really exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be watching.
Yeah.
I've always admired your work ethic and the fact that I love people who bring people together, and I think that's something you do quite naturally. So I've always been a fan of you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you coming here,
Appreciate it, bro.
sharing some of your story today. For people who want to check out more of your work, how can they keep up with you?
So, oh my God, I feel like an influencer or something. So basically, social medias, my social media is official Royston. The agency is RnD Creatives. I have a foundation, which is assisting young entrepreneurs to get into the creative arts. That's RnD Foundation. I have my safe space party, which is the Connection Party. What else do I have? I think that's about it. So yeah.
That's plenty. That's plenty for you to check out. Thank you guys for listening and watching if you're watching. I really appreciate you every time. If you have any comments, please put them in the relevant sections or send me a DM. Thank you, Royston.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, guys. We will see you in another episode.